guys, I'm Moan.
And I'm Miguel.
Today, we will be making a new tutorial series on how to make a clicker game. This tutorial will show how to do both basic and advanced options for scripts.
So without further ado, let's get started. Keep in mind that we will still be doing our shooter game series. We will be doing the last video soon, but we want something to fill it in between.
Let's name our game. You can make it whatever you like. For this tutorial, we will be making a clicker where the stone progressively gets better and better. So we'll call it Stone Clicker.
Let's make a new sprite, and we're gonna call it Stone. Now go to costumes and name your first costume Stone. We will be making our own art. For now, you just need to make a placeholder sprite.
You could just make a purple square. Go to the code. Drag a when I receive message. We will make a new message. Make it start. Now drag a when green flag clicked. Under it, drag a broadcast message start. We are doing this so when we make the start menu at the end of the series, it will be easier for us to make it and we won't have to go back and make everything instead of when green flag clicked, when I receive start.
Make a new variable. And we're gonna call this one money. You can do this with the $sign or you could just write it out. We're gonna write it out. Under when I receive start, drag out a set money block in variables and keep it at 0.
Now, here's where things get a little funky. There is going to be two different ways you can do this. One, you could do it normally, where when you click it, it gives you 1 money. Or, you could make it a little fancy, and when you hover the mouse over it, the size changes, and then when you click it, it actually looks like you're clicking it. If you want your button to look super cool, then keep watching. But if you don't, skip to this timestamp. The next part will be a little hard to understand if you are a beginner. So I recommend you get a little more familiar with Scratch to do this if you aren't already.
Now, when I receive start, set money to 0. Drag a forever loop and drag an if-else statement. Drag a touching mouse pointer block and put that in the designated area. Now, drag a set size to % block, drag a plus operator, a minus operator, and a divided by operator.
Put the minus operator in the second input for the plus operator. Put the divided by operator in the second input for the minus operator. It is very important you do it in this order. Now, place it inside of the input for the set size %. Go back to looks. Drag out a size input. Put it in the first open area. Then, in the center, you can set it to whatever size you want it to expand to when you hover the mouse over. Then, drag another size input back in the third input area. And finally, divide by, let's just say 3. Now, duplicate that whole block we just made. Then, change 70 to 50, which is what size it'll be when we aren't hovering the mouse over it. Okay, let's test it.
It may be a little too big on your screen, so you might want to make it smaller in the costume editor, or you can do it directly there.
Now for 2 slight adjustments. Where the green flag click block is, drag a go to block and say 0, 0. Now your placeholder item should be centered. For the second adjustment, now you're going to drag a when this sprite clicked hat out. Create a clone of myself. Change money by 1. Set size to, duplicate one of the size blocks, and change the first number input to 10 minus what you originally had in the top set size block in your if-else statement.
Now, let's make little versions of the sprite to come out when we click. Drag a when I start as a clone block, and repeat 10, change ghost effect by 10. And then after that, we want to delete this clone so it doesn't stay on screen for that long. Also, when I start as a clone, set size to 70%. This is so we don't mistake it for the real thing. Grab a go to block and change the values inside to 0, 0, so it starts where the placeholder is. Now, we're going to do a point in direction. We're going to grab a pick random And we're going to do pick random -179 to +180. And then forever, move 10 steps.
Now, just before we test it, let's do one last thing. Drag a set rotation style to don't rotate and put it where the green flag click block is. That is just so the clone isn't facing a different way than the actual placeholder sprite, and it looks all neat in order. Now, let's test it.
Whoa, it's working, but you can't see it very well because the placeholder is too big. So if yours is doing that, go back into costumes and make the placeholder a bit smaller. Click the green flag again, and this looks a lot better. You can actually tell where it's going.
That's all for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. And you guys definitely use some scratch abilities.
It's too big for the... Oh gosh, that sounds so weird. Hold up. Just redo it.